First item is the pledge of allegiance. If you'd like to join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we have our public comment portion. Any comments from the public? Yes.
One at the mic is just fine.
Probably the mic, I guess, just. So you can have it. Thank you.
Surmising the agenda today. Going to peel off and continue on some of what we saw last week at the meeting. We have a problem. It's 10 years in the making. When you allow a employee, at-will employee on probation to air threats and then pick who they want to supervise them. They've got a growing problem that's taking place since then. With other members of the community being called names, members of staff being threatened. And now, as late as last week, another member of our community raped viciously over the coals by someone using their title on the board. Viciously. Saying she's not teaching her kids hate. It's just uncalled for. But the most telling and galling thing that I found was that when the employee then got up to speak, and did she apologize at all for her conduct? No, she didn't apologize at all. She still had enough hubris to go and attack the three of us again, even attacking me and claiming, making false accusations without any proof that I was performing illegal duties. And if you remember, I had to remind her that she never filed any grievance against me whatsoever until I wrote one against her. So she had no proof, no evidence, but made a false claim against me in public. And then proceeded to run Dan down and run Renee down yet again. I hope there's only one way this goes. I certainly recommend that the attorney give strong consideration into ending this nightmare once and for all. We all would have the right to sue this township after that last meeting, after what was said.
Any other public comments? Oh.
So, after our exchange at the last meeting, I thought about it for a little bit, and Scott's point also brought something up, which is, I made the claim that Carol told my wife and my mother-in-law when we came to inquire about the Penny development, or not development, the request for rezone. And then she walked in, she didn't know Carol didn't know her. She asked for the information. Carol said, I don't know why you're here. This thing is passing, this thing is going through, and there's nothing you can do about it. So we brought that up at the very next township meeting. This was 5 years ago, right? Carol didn't dispute that until just last week. So for her to be so adamant about she doesn't know us, she's never heard that, she didn't say it. And now she's disputing it, but she didn't dispute it back then. That seems a little fishy. And what made me think of that was Scott's point was, she didn't file any grievances until all of a sudden, there's this pile of manure at her feet. And now she's struggling. But so this has been ongoing in my view, and seeing all the meetings, everything, most of the issues the township had seem to point right back to her. If you follow those threads. And I've been to most of the meetings, and the meetings that I haven't been to, I've read all the notes, and I've talked with other people who attended the meetings, and that seems to be true. So, you know, I didn't have a dog in this fight until Carol sort of jumped on us at that first interaction. I wish and hope that the board does something about it, because no one deserves that. You know, especially in the position that we were in. I'm not sure how the letters didn't reach us, but that's also Carol's job, as I understand it. And we did not listen about the rezoning that was happening in our backyard. Convenient, indeed. Right? So a bit of a ramble, but that's how I feel. It is I brought it up 5 years ago. She didn't respond in any way until now. And I don't know why that is. So that's not it.
Thank you. Oh, gosh, I forgot to say that.
I'll see you then. Hi, Brian Townsend. I'd like to agree with Dan and Scott. I will be the first to admit that I am critical of what goes on in the township meetings, on the board. I don't have anything personal against, I don't know any of you personally. But you are the board and you work for our township. The zoning administrator works for our township. If I see something that doesn't look right, if it looks like someone's not doing their job appropriately, I will be the first person to call it out. I have never made any kind of personal attack. And as Scott phrased it, I was raked over the coals by someone using her title. Which I believe goes against a statute. The residents clearly last week were not happy. We are watching, and we expect the board to take action on this. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, no other public to comment at this point. So the next item is this consideration of discussion of a memo and attorney-client privilege memo. We all received from Attorney Paul.
I'd like to move that we go into closed session to discuss the memo from Ron Paul.
So on his memo here, he has a motion that he's suggesting we read. You would have his name there.
Move that the township board convene a closed session under section 81H of the Open Meetings Act to consider material exempt from disclosure by state statute, section 13(1)G of the Freedom of Information Act, being a letter from its attorney dated July 19, 2023, for the reason that the letter is exempt from disclosure under state law due to attorney-client privilege.
Go ahead. Motion by Kurt, supported by Rod. Voice roll call this? Roll call. We don't have any- We'll just.
Yes.
Amanda, yes. Kathy.
Yes.
Rod.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. All ayes. We will adjourn now to go into closed session. We're gonna do it the way we've done it in the past, we'll go back. Thank you, everyone. It's not that many people here today. Okay, thank you. We're returning to open session now. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to come out of closed session and go back into open session.
Oh. That I didn't know. I thought you meant a different motion. That's okay. I think we're okay because we need a motion to move from close to open, so we're in open now. All right, Mr. Thal, is it okay if the supervisor makes motions, or should I be deferring to someone else to? Yes.
I just had to unmute myself. I'm okay. No, supervisors are fine to make motions.
All right, I would like to make a motion that the township board of the supervisor write a written apology to Townsend's from the township reflecting personal opinions or views that were expressed that may have had the appearance of representing the board, which they did not. Second, to do a written admonishment in the file for the employee. For using her moniker as zoning administrator on social media posts. And a motion that the board look into and possibly adopt an ethics ordinance or policy.
A second.
Motion by me, supported by Rod. Is there any discussion?
I think we need both an ethics and a social media policy. We need, and I don't know if social media is a standalone policy or if it can be included in the.
Standalone, I see.
Okay. And we add standalone social media policy.
Yes, I can, I'll do a friendly amendment to add, to the last item there, adopt to research and adopt, possibly adopt ethics ordinance or policy and a separate social media policy. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Thank you. Now our next item here is Westchester update. So I thought maybe we would take advantage of Mr. Thal's being here to talk about our meeting with Westchester.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So we had a meeting, I believe it was last week with Westchester. And it was a good meeting. We met with their attorney. We met with I believe their engineer. We had our engineers there, and we reviewed their desire to move forward with their next phases. And in doing that, there's a few things that I'll address. You know, number one was the layout of their phasing. So they have changed their layout since the consent agreement. Or at least they're proposing to change the layout where they're adding, I think it was 31 to 33 new homes. What they're trying to do is provide a wider variety of homes within their development. But, you know, their thought was that the layout is fine. I don't see any problem with the layout, but ultimately the board needs to, you know, give their blessing really to the new layout of the property. Again, it adds, I think it was either 31 or 33 new residences within there. Their original design, when they first started, was many more residences. I think they talked about, you know, having like 600 residences in that area to begin with. But with the consent agreement, it was peeled back down. And now, because of different demographics and the saleability of properties, they want to just offer some more options for people to buy within their community. And that includes some additional units. So that's going to have to, if the board is fine with the layout, and I think board members should then take a look at the layout. I mean, maybe I'll make sure that you have a copy of what they have proposed for their layout, and maybe if you have concerns or questions, you let me know and I can funnel those back through to them. But I think before they move forward, really, they need to know that their layout is okay. But then there's other issues that we need to resolve in moving forward, or just, you know, that are going to have to be agreed to. And those involve the water system layout, the sewer system layout for the new phases. We made it clear to them, and they understand the township is not going to pay a penny to, you know, support those systems. It's on the developer to design their development. We've brought the services to their property, the sewer services, the water services to their property for proper service provision to their development. It's on them to properly design those facilities within their development. The issue with the water system and water pressure was not on our end. It's a design issue that they have within their development. And if they do certain features, upsize and increase the size of their mains on the water system, then they would have proper pressure within their system. They understand that. They're looking at, you know, the different layouts and what they'd have to do that. With their sewer system, they're looking at making sure they have a proper system within their development. They talked about doing a pressure system with options for gravity. You know, as long as the township, again, is not responsible for the costs of their system. So say if they do a pressure system within their development with gravity at the edges to hook into, you know, future developments as required by our township ordinance, they would require to be using grinder cans within their pressure development. And we would have to make sure that their bylaws and condo agreements require that the associations maintain those grinder cans, and any of the sewer system really that's from the property line in, or the person's property in, because the sewer and water system, once they develop it, will be public systems, even though so the mains for the water, the mains for the sewer, once they design, develop, and install them, they sign those things over to the township as with any other development, and they become public systems. So we will make sure that they comply with what our requirements are for our sewer and water public systems. But then when it hits the edge of the property owner's property, from that point in, the service leads which could include a grinder can, are the responsibility of the association. And so we have layout. We want to make sure that the board is comfortable with their layout. We have water and sewer system layouts, but we first want to make sure everybody's comfortable with the design, which they felt like the board didn't express any problems with it before, but I'll have those discussions with board members to see where they lie on that issue. But before they really move forward with a lot of other design detail, they want to know that their layout is okay. Then we have the issue of the franchise with the Chelsea property. So part of their development includes property that's in the city of Chelsea, but they need the township to provide water and sewer service to that property. And so we do have a franchise agreement with Chelsea that I think we had to have Chelsea. The original ordinance that they did missed some provisions regarding what area they were referring to. I think they've updated their ordinance to properly identify the Chelsea property. And so the city of Chelsea, we have a franchise agreement already with the city of Chelsea. And it would be a matter ultimately, though, for approval of the board to provide the water and sewer service in that area. And then the final issue is, again, we're not going to be paying anything for, before there was like, well, we want you to pay for a booster station to boost the water pressure and, do, whatever it might be. It's clear to them that we're not going to do anything in that regard, but, we can assist them. It's going to cost them a lot more to increase the size of those mains within their project. We talked about the ability for them to do a special assessment within their development. So only on the parties that would benefit within their development could receive a special assessment, and we could use that to help assist their financing, and spreading the costs of their water system and sewer system within their development. So if people buy in the development, they would be responsible for those special assessments. The township would be the township wouldn't incur any costs in that regard. So those are the things that we talked about, just kind of as an update. I wanted to make sure the board was aware.
Thank you. Any questions on the matter? Ron will be getting with everybody, sending around, as he said, the layout and collecting feedback. We're missing our final public comment on here. We'll go to Board of Trustee member comment. Any comments from the board? Any other discussion? All right, motion to adjourn.
Public comment?
I was just saying on our agenda here, there is not another public comment. I pulled up an old one we used. Would the board like to entertain public comment for the end of the meeting? Okay. All right, public comment.
It's very disappointing to get the news that you just released to us. Public admonishment for that kind of guttural behavior. This shouldn't be tolerated. I cannot believe that our council did not recommend a full firing. While you were in deliberation, the three of us kind of felt that, like that dais, the hand is cancerous and it's spreading. And it's why you all don't perform your duties the way that we would like to see you do it. It's held you all back for a number of years. It is a constant thorn in the township's side. And you underperformed yet again today. It's just terrible.
Other public comment? Board of trustee comments, everyone said no, all right. Thank you, motion to adjourn from Rod. 11:05, is there support for that? Thanks. Motion by Rod, supported by Kurt, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Thank you, motion carries.